Hello and welcome to your Daily Detroit. I'm Jer Stays, pushing Detroit's conversation forward on this Tuesday, July 16th, 2024. It might come as a surprise to you, as I'm a podcaster who talks for a living, but I truly believe it's important to speak when it adds to the silence, especially on serious issues. We can argue about the best flavor of Faygo or the most loved tiger of all time at the drop of a hat, anytime, anywhere. I'm down for it. But some things require consideration and measure. Over the weekend, there was an assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. We didn't post about it. Why? Because, let's be honest, what can I add? When I don't have any true insight, experience, or new on-the-ground facts on a large, serious happening, I don't talk about things just to be in the conversation. I'm not in D.C., I wasn't at the rally, none of our team was. My normal beat isn't Washington. What I specialize in is Detroit, Metro Detroit, and Michigan. And if there's something that touches that, we may talk about it, but there's a lot of national and political podcasts out there. We're one of the top 100 daily news podcasts in the country. That's across all topics, and mostly national shows are in there. At least that's according to Apple, at least as we're recording this. We got there by talking about what we know and not being just another person with an opinion adding to the noise. Whatever you're looking for in national politics, frankly, that already exists and you can find it. For me, during events like what happened over the weekend, I follow trusted sources who were there. I listen to experts. I give it time for facts to get sorted out. I had news alerts, but once I knew the former president was going to be fine, I went to dinner. I stayed off social media, and no, I have no idea how it's going to impact the election. No one really does. We're still months out. I strongly suggest people look at the On the Media's Breaking News Consumer Handbook for these sorts of things. Our nation could do with a lot more media literacy. From that guide, I'll share a few things. You know, in the immediate aftermath of this, people will get things wrong. They always have. Some things need time to settle. There's almost never a second shooter. And you should pay attention to the language media uses and compare sources. Anything big brings out people who will create fake images, stories, and more for their own gain. So in these early hours, always be super wary. And some of it, and this is probably why I will always be limited on social media, is on you and us and anyone with an account. Usually there's more hurt to be done unless you've got real sources, not just a photo of someone else's stuff or something you heard that confirms your pre-existing ideas. And if you find yourself sharing something emotionally, check yourself. Social media doesn't work on the best information. It works on the information that motivates people to share with their friends. Look, I get it. Truth is boring. Conspiracy theories are fun and build excitement. But in my 25 plus years of media experience, through many tragedies, Occam's razor is usually on the money. Given that we know most or all of the facts, the most likely answer is the simplest one. I've been active on social media since Twitter started, and I'm now on Threads. There's almost nothing I have posted in the heat of the moment that has mattered. As for me and us and national things, if there's something with a local angle or idea that percolates, great. Something to do work on here and add value, sure. And if not, that's fine too. What I had planned to run Sunday morning in our newsletter and Monday on the show was my review of Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer's memoir, True Gretch, what I've learned about life, leadership, and everything in between. An example of where national meets local. And that is the rest of today's episode. You can find the written version in our newsletter over on dailydetroit.com, and I hope you get something out of it. True Gretch reveals the kind of reasonable, relatable leader America needs. When the hot-colored envelope from the public relations team arrived at the studio, there was something I just sensed, that this had to be the True Gretch book. At first blush, the 160-ish pages felt light. But as I dug in, I remembered that less is more. I was letting my bias of loving Barack Obama's Dreams from My Father cloud my judgment. It's nearly 3 times the length, after all. Sometimes we need soaring rhetoric, and sometimes we need a laugh, a playlist, and an introduction. Relatability is one of Governor Gretchen Whitmer's superpowers. She uses her story to connect on issues that matter, making things personal, not through aggression, but by reaching people in a way that even her opponents have to admit resonates. Reasonableness is another strength. On most issues, despite whatever some pundits, professional or passionate, might say, most people living their lives seem to look at her and go, well, she's doing the best she can with the cards dealt. As someone who's followed the local Michigan scene for a while from my perch in Detroit, there were many stories in there that I remembered. But to the rest of America, they're new and important to know, especially as she inevitably transitions out of office here due to term limits. In true Gretch, she shares everything from the youthful indiscretions most of us have had to the deeply personal and tragic, and it's clear she likes dogs, which is a green flag for me. In this age of short attention spans, the book is quick, warm, and approachable. In the few times I've very briefly talked with the governor over the years, so is she. One of the keys to her pretty consistently high approval rating here is on most issues she governs from the real center of where most Michiganders are at. She is, in fact, a happy warrior, and yes, I believe most voters want that. Someone who is able to look at what's happening, laugh at it, and call out how dumb it can be sometimes, as well as step in if it needs to happen. Things that official people hated, people out in the real world loved about her, whether it's Shark Week or rolling with the moniker of Big Gretch. When insulted over stupid things, she can serve it back, and often better. We know she will stand up, and Michiganders have strongly supported Whitmer. She clobbered her Trumpist opponent in the last general election by 11 points. To me, the only question I have if she seeks higher office at some point is, will the trope of Americans loving a woman in government but not wanting to vote for them for the highest office continue to hold true? Being that we're in the 2020s, not the 1920s, I sure as hell hope this country can decide elections on merit, not manhood. Watching her rise has been colorful and at times inspiring. It's shown our best and honestly our worst, from things like the absurd blue dress controversy to whacked out militia members trying to kill her. The book takes you into these moments. I'm curious to see in the coming months and years what America thinks. As I said, Whitmer is term limited as governor of Michigan, so there has to be a next chapter, whether it's higher office or a higher calling. Either way, I can't help but think she will not drive into the sunset. True Gretch, what I've learned about life, leadership, and everything in between is out now wherever books are sold. If you can, consider picking it up at a local bookstore. Thanks so much for listening. Leave feedback, dailydetroit@gmail.com. Don't forget to tell a friend about the show. I'm Jer Stays. Remember that you are somebody, and we'll talk tomorrow.